I think one key important thing here is, and obviously when we say play hard, often for us who are in the corporate world, and I guess for those uni students out there who are listening as well, it will usually involve alcohol consumption to some extent. Now, one thing I find very inspirational with yourself is that you don't drink.
No drink.
No drinking. And this is not something... This is a conscious decision that you've made. How many years ago?
Oh, gosh. Maybe 5 years ago. But I never really drank that much.
Right.
But 5 years ago, probably, when I was just like, no, that's it.
5 years ago.
Alcohol is not adding value to my life.
Right.
So it's out.
And just like that, you didn't struggle with not
so I
drinking?
didn't struggle with it because I didn't really like it anyway. So I was lucky in that respect. Right.
Yes, because I know you are a man of your principles, and I guess that is one of those things. I just think that's really, especially when working in the financial industry.
Super hard when it comes to working with clients and some of the cultures out there, especially the older Caucasian culture.
Right.
It's hard to belong when you don't.
So how, especially because in your work, you're working with clients, and based on my understanding, it's usually a given that you will take your clients out for a nice dinner and some drinks, and how do you deal with that?
So I can't take them out for a drink, really, because you don't really want to take someone out for a drink and then they're the only one drinking.
Right.
That's a bit
of
weird.
Course.
But I don't really do a full-on sales role. So mine's more a support sales role. So there will always be the full-on sales guy there who can do that. Whereas I'm there, my offering is the brains and the analytical thinking.
Right.
So they don't bring me along to drink. Right, but that said, it is in some pockets of culture. It's actually quite a big pocket of culture in Australia. It's hard to progress without drinking. And I've been told before, you should come out for a drink with us.
Right.
After work, even if you don't drink.
Right.
Because that's important to your progression.
Right.
And, I'm highly against that.
Right.
Because that's just what that pocket does.
Right.
I mean,
right.
It's not something I want to do, not something I should have to do.
Because I guess often that going out for beers or wines or drinks or whatever is often the main way of building relationships with your teammates and your clients. As sad as it may sound, for those of us who enjoy that type of thing, all well and good. Yeah. But I guess the important thing is that not everyone drinks. So often a lot of people be left out, and you have those sort of not so desirable situations. So do you do anything else? Do you make a conscious effort to do that in a different way, or do you find there's ample opportunity just to do it in the office?
I find that I don't really make up for it. So there are pockets of people who progress faster because they're drinking with the right people,
right? And
they make friends with buddies who are higher level who will promote them. That said, those are that sort of pockets. As we get older, there's a whole generation of people like me who grew up with computer games.
Right.
And I know someone who he's in a sales role. Right. And he has to manage his clients. And his clients are all our age as well. And so he takes them to like the EA Games Expo.
Oh, wow.
Because there's a new set
That's a common interest now.
Right. Yeah, because, as opposed to some banks where you have treasurers or CFOs who are, if you stereotype it, old, Caucasian, grew up playing rugby or whatever. Generation, right? They drink and they want to watch sports, like football, rugby, cricket.
Right.
But that generation is going.
Right.
The next generation is going to have a mix of people. So your salespeople, if all they're offering is, I can take you out to the cricket, if you're talking to a client like me or yourself, we'll be like, well, I don't really want to do that. And if you're talking to someone like me, I'll be like, I'm not going to do that. you can take me off your client list. I'm going to go with this other guy who's going to take me to the Games Expo.
Wow.
So there's a whole new generation, and I think that will improve things for us younger people.
Right.
As the culture changes.
And really,
also improve things for all the minorities.
Right.
Like people who want work-life flexibility.
Yep.
With our culture, currently more women want to take time off.
Right.
And when you want to fit in these client building, relationship building activities, you can't do it after work because people who have children and have other responsibilities need to go home.
Yes.
So at the moment, we're excluding all that.
Right.
Excluding all those people, excluding people like myself. But over time, I hope that will change. I'm pretty sure it will.
Well said, mate. Well said. Wow. I mean, I have to admit, I'm probably one of those that enjoys the odd beer or three, and that sort of culture, but I can definitely see there's a gap, and I really don't like seeing that gap, because for me, one of the main reasons I enjoy that type of thing is because, like you, with what you've said, that interaction part is just so, I guess that's the reason why we're doing it. But when you see people who are not invited or don't want to come because they don't feel comfortable, that they're not drinking with everyone else, it's really sad.
I think people struggle to understand that. And I think if you placed yourself in their position, imagine you were normally you and you're like, okay, everyone at work now has changed and you are now the minority.
Right.
The majority goes, why don't you come out and do what the majority of us do all the time? And so they're like, well, we're not comfortable doing that. And then we're like, well, it's your choice. You don't want to do it. That's fine. You just won't get to connect and relationship manage with, connect with the right people. It's harder for your career. And I guess they have to deal with that. But that's the sort of thing that's happening to them at the moment.
Mate, that's really well summed up. I like the way you've mentioned that, and like you said, it's really inspirational how you will stay strong. You'll maintain your individuality. You'll do what you're comfortable with. You won't be forced into doing something you don't want to do, whether or not that has any relevance to your career. You've got your own principles and what you're comfortable with. But having said that, there's other ways, and you can find other people who have common interests, and there's plenty of ways that you can fill that gap.
So it's definitely impacted my career.
Right. Oh, all right. Okay.
Definitely.
Yep.
But I mean,
I can't say you're doing too badly. I mean, associate director
but it's the same.
Is pretty up
my
there.
My boss is the same. He doesn't drink.
Right. Oh, okay. Even better. Yeah, that works well for you.
And and I often joke with him. I said if he'd started drinking when he was younger, he would be CEO by now, right? Because he's so good at his job.
Wow.
He can do such great work.
Wow.
He's such a good person.
Wow.
But he doesn't drink.
Wow.
So he doesn't connect at the right levels to get the promotion.
Right.
But it's okay. Like, life is not fair. That's a small thing to be dealt a bad hand on.
Right. This is great. Our podcast is getting controversial as well. I love it. This is great.